Now it's time for Dailies Today. This is where we run you through the headlines the papers are talking about, and we bring you the details. You can also join us on our live feed on Facebook and YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. My name is Wemimo Adewuni. I am with the very...
Morning, everybody. My name is Wilson.
Don't give me energy back. Welcome to the show. As I said earlier, please join us on Facebook and YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. Also tweet at Nigeria Info FM using the hashtag Nigeria Info MCF. Let's get started. Baba Jesha features first on the show this morning from the Vanguard newspaper. The headline reads, Baba Jesha jailed 16 years for sexually assaulting minor.
Yeah, thank you. This is a partial end to a very terrible saga, and we thank God that justice has been done. He's been jailed for 16 years, but he will serve only 5 years in prison. Indeed, by the prison, I think every prison year is 9 months, so he might be in prison for 3 years plus. And this brings closure on a very unfortunate incident. For those who are wondering what it's all about, Baba Jesha, was found guilty of fiddling with a minor sexually, and sexual offences are one of the offences that society should have zero tolerance for. It also reports that yesterday the mother of the child, or the guardian of the child, went on celebration on Twitter, dancing, wore some sultan, was dancing and praising God. I think that was ill-advised. It calls for sober reflection on her part, and also thinking of the future of the child. How traumatized has the child been? So we need to be measured in the things that we do. All this praising God in public and things like that, they need to be measured and put in context. What I would have preferred is if she quietly reflected, used the opportunity to reflect, both on how to amend the damage, how to repair the damage that has been brought on the child, rather than expose the matter so it becomes public controversy again. I want to plead understanding with members of the public, especially those in the social media, to remember that whilst you're having your fun, because that's what it turns out to be, whilst you're having your fun commenting and doing this and that, we have a child there that could jolly well have been traumatized. So I'd like to plead for everybody. The man has been sentenced, he's gone to jail. Let the matter die now.
I disagree.
Oh, fair enough.
I disagree, and here's why. In fact, that was my first topic today as I got into the show, and I think that a situation like this and a case like this should be amplified so that it can serve as deterrent, particularly because the fellow involved is a major actor in Yoruba Nollywood. That's someone that a lot of people looked up to. Amplifying that kind of story and helps other people see that if you do a lot of men and women groom teenagers. You find them tell you, oh, but she's got boobs and the back. So we have people grooming teenagers all over the place. If you amplify this, they see where they could be landing. Also, this case has been around for about over a year now, I believe. And it's been in the news. So, if she's rejoicing, people rejoice over winning court cases every day. It wasn't just rejoicing. The part I didn't like was when she was raining curses and everything. But again, everyone deals with their issues in very different ways. So, for me, I'd rather we amplify this story so that abusers of children can see where they will end. If we stem it down, nobody knows. They just keep doing it.
Okay, so fair enough. That's your own take, but I ask myself, you amplify, you make noise and so on and so forth. The case is well known anyway, and the case has been won. So what is there to amplify again? This idea of amplifying things sometimes could have a backlash. What is most important to me, there's nothing to amplify about the sexes. People already know that these things are not right. On religious grounds, on social grounds, it doesn't need amplification before anybody knows that you shouldn't be doing it. And what comes to me as a parent myself is the future of the girl. And so I still stand by what I said, that we should just let it, amplifying it so that what? Is there any full-grown adult, 18 plus? Indeed, is there any teenager that doesn't know from sheer common sense that you shouldn't be doing these things.
But you talk often about perceived justice, and that's is one thing for justice to be served is for people to know that actually justice was served.
You easily know by the fact that it's been sentenced. So
you would not know if it's not amplified.
Oh, come on.
People have to talk about it.
What? Talk about what?
That he was sentenced.
Oh, come on. Let's grow up here. Let's turn this thing into entertainment. This thing we call amplification, in reality, people snigger and all kinds of comments.
Rightly so.
And you must think of the child and other children who are in that same situation. So this amplification in the social media is one of the things that we need to correct in certain cases.
I rest my case.
Yes, I rest mine too. All of us need to grow up and not get excited at the fact that you can always run to the social media and amplifying what? The man has been jailed. Every full grown up at 16 plus, if a teenager would know that you don't feed even children. So this amplification, I don't particularly understand. But it's all right. I mean, it's a matter of opinion. I wouldn't want this, if I was the father of the child.
But the name of the child is not being mentioned anywhere. You know that, right?
Whether you mention the name of the child or not, the child is known by those who know the child. The child knows that she.
But this is one of the things that enables a culture of silence. This is one of the reasons people don't talk. Is that the girl will be stigmatized? It is.
Justice has been served.
Yeah, then we talk about
closure.
We can't agree on this one.
No, we won't.
No, we can't agree on this one. So let's go to our next story.
We won't agree on this.
All right. We have a story here from the Nation newspaper. It's on the front page. It's the biggest story here.
Yes.
Wipe out terrorists. Buhari gives fresh order to military. President says the last 12 years most challenging. Nigeria to sustain sub-regional security collaboration is from the Nation.
Thank you very much. I wonder why I feel that, in truth, most likely, the president and indeed the authorities don't know what to do to meet up this, to confront the security challenges that we have. Day in, day out, as the situation gets worse, all we hear are directives. Giving out directives, wipe out terrorists. Buhari gives fresh order to the military. When you put a gun in a soldier's hand, he knows that he's supposed to wipe out the enemy. I mean, so I wonder, where is this supposed to provide some comfort? I would rather the president and the security people lock themselves up somewhere and come up with a massive plan, to confront this challenge. And if they do need, because nobody has a monopoly of knowledge, tactics, and so on and so forth. If we do need some foreign assistance, we shouldn't shy away from it's getting out of place. Indeed, the president himself bore part of the brunt by the challenge on his advanced team going to his whatever. And so we'd like to call on the president. We are tired of directives. The president has directed, the president has given order, wipe them out, fresh order to the military. What were the orders that
they had
given before? You put a soldier is not a policeman. You put a gun in his hand, you put bullets in the gun, he knows he has to fire it and wipe out the enemy. So what is new? And I'm even wondering why this is making front page news, to be honest with you, of a national newspaper. I wonder where all this is coming from. Nothing new is coming out. The situation is not changing.
People are not being sacked or resigning. That jailbreak thing just keeps getting me thinking. Nobody is getting...
Well, in first instance, nobody has been able so far to give a full account of what actually took place. You get what I'm saying? Nobody has been able to give a full account. What we heard, the minister visited. There's so much of public relations work being done without real action being seen to be done. And it's very, very worrying. Those of us who are outside the realms of government and outside the realms of the military, we don't feel okay. It's not helped by the fact that the president said a few days ago that he was tired and is almost ready to go. So isn't it time we face certain realities now, and we say to ourselves, if there are changes that have to be made, let's go ahead and make them at all levels.
Yeah.
If the commander-in-chief says he's getting tired and ready to go, that is what... I don't know how to translate the word irreversible.
Irreversible.
It means...
Weariness is weariness.
Is what?
Weariness.
Yes. But it's deeper than, you see, our own languages are very, very deep.
Absolutely.
It's deeper than those
especially in context.
In context, yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you are. We'll have to bear this, until we have. That is why I believe very strongly, very, very strongly, in spite of what some people might not like to hear, Nigeria needs a fresh beginning. Nigeria needs less rhetoric and more action. And we should work towards it. And that's why you find me saying, out of complete frustration, that I'm not interested in anybody's manifesto. What I want to see is an action plan. But we don't, from the morning shows today, from what we are seeing.
A lot of talk.
From what we are seeing, even from the talk, you know that the future looks bleak.
Yeah, right.
From decisions being made, you have a presidential candidate to make statements that, of course, we don't need to go there. You have another one who spends half of his time outside the country. I mean, he's free to live wherever, but when you become the candidate, you need to be there with your people at all times, at the very least for this period. Are we going to have a president who lives abroad?
Did you see one of the stories I read this morning?
What's that?
For the Osun State election, there's a party, the PRP. They're pulling out of the polls. Guess why?
Why?
Their candidate, once he became the governorship candidate, guy traveled abroad.
Oh, no better.
Came back only 2 weeks of the election, so they were unable to campaign or do anything. So they want to probe that candidate.
The president and somebody celebrating the fact that he can wear a pair of jeans and shirts. If you're on the social media, you get who I'm talking about and all that kind of nonsense. The man lives at the shortest, at the smallest, when it was most challenging for us during the COVID whatever. This gentleman quickly went and got himself vaccinated outside the country without waiting to contribute. Reason is this: you can do whatever you like as an individual, but when you put yourself out there in the public space, wanting to lead your people, then you must be seen to be leading your people. This arrogance of coming in for a meeting, going back on a private jet, and so on and so forth. Amigo, these things don't work like that, So we need a new beginning. It's left for us to search for where that new beginning will come from. But we can't continue along this same path, as directed, as given orders, as giving matching orders, and all these things. The press is also complicit in this, inadvertently, and they don't know it. In a bid to cover stories, I don't know how this kind of story made front page lead, wipe out the terrorists. Is that supposed to give us some confidence? It doesn't give me any.
You didn't read the details. Some words. In fact, some of the callers asked, because I read it in the news, the president was saying that he's all for peace, solidarity, unity, the oneness. Everyone. Someone was asking me, is the president campaigning? I said, no, it's just telling you.
No, it's what it shows to me, the feeling that I get is that the man's back is against the wall. This government's back is against the wall as to what to do, either with security or the economy, because even with the economy now, in other countries you hear concrete plans. Here you don't hear anything. Shortages, this, that, no power, everything. You don't hear any concrete plan in the short term, middle term, and long term to address these issues.
Maybe it's a good time to ask for help. All right, let's see our next story from the Vanguard. My purported memo to Buhari seeking resignation from the APC is fake, says Oshimbajo here. You might have seen it on social media.
This is just to help my highlights. I mean, all of you know that Oshimbajo is my friend anyway, so there's no point adding that. And there was a memo that went round that was circulated in the social media that he had resigned from government. Of course, when I saw it, I just trust it because if he were going to do that, you would hear within 10 minutes with full proof. Okay, when you get these things, some of these things, look at them critically and say to yourself, if the VP was going to resign, most likely he would do it publicly. I mean, in terms of send the memo and then send a copy of, So anyway, that is that is that. So the Oshimbajo has not resigned though. He's still with
the APC.
Still with the
but anything can happen,
That he might still resign. No, I don't think so. At the very worst, his back is a bit against the wall with the Muslim ticket of his party. Don't forget, he's a pastor, and if you look at it objectively, His back is against the wall. So if he doesn't like it, at most, he will not turn up at some of the campaigns. At most. But even then, he might not do that. He's a man of peace. And he has a responsibility as the vice president.
And he hasn't even said anything about the Christian or Muslim.
No, he's not in as vice president. He can't say anything. It was the issue we hear was discussed with his principal, and that's the president.
But he could say something as per presidential aspirant. I mean, at least we also vied for the tickets of his party. So maybe on that level, he
can't. He can't. It will muddle the waters. This is a big crisis that has been created. Indeed, you remember, I think yesterday was supposed to have been the unveiling of the candidate. It's been put off for a while. Listen to Babachar Lawal on Arise channels and all this. Listen to these things that are going on. It's a big crisis we have on our hands. And I've known this gentleman all my life. He would never put petrol in a burning fire. He's not wired that way.
Okay, let's take one more, and then I'll see if I can squeeze in a few comments from our social media feed. There's a lot pouring in. The Nation newspaper, another Nigerian, another on my way, first class in math at Oxford.
Yes,
a young guy.
This is a day of good news. And celebrate him.
How old is he again?
21.
Wow.
Yes, we celebrate him. For once, we are not talking about money and whatever. So his name is Olu Jacobs. He made a first-class honors degree at Oxford University.
So are you interested because he shares your name?
Jimmys are brilliant anyway.
He's
a given. We don't need to go to the social media to make about it.
Are you trying shit? If you want to come there, don't go through college.
Jimmys are brilliant. Have you ever seen any Jimmy that is dull? Jimmys are
I know one.
It can't be me. I have something in my pocket. Fasola is 21 and graduated summa cum laude in mathematics at St. Peter's College, Oxford. Congratulations to him and his parents. These are the things that give us
pride.
Joy. Yes, and we thank the Lord that he made it affordable for the parents to send him to Oxford.
Yeah.
Though you must know that these universities, hybrid universities, they have beautiful programs for those. So it's not a matter of money. That's where I'm going. Once you're brilliant, there's a space for you. He's most likely on the scholarship anyway. Oh, okay. Before Oxford, he was at Haberdashers College, a private school in London. Okay, and he obtained 9 distinctions from his O levels and 4 A-level distinctions.
The guy's just a very brilliant.
I think he's the son of Ambassador Fafora. Yes, he must be. I suspected so. So Ambassador Fafora. Ambassador, congratulations.
We have an editorial here, still staying with the Nation newspaper. Olu Jacobs at 80, an icon ripens with grace and dignity. I saw the videos and sincerely, I was really happy.
Whilst I was happy, one of the things that made me very sad was that I didn't have the opportunity to interview this gentleman at 80 and celebrate him. But we all know these things. As you grow older, you have challenges. But we cannot but wish him a happy birthday and honor him. And that's what the Nation has done. Beautiful editorial. It says, Olu Jacobs at 80, an icon ripens with grace and dignity. And if you saw the videos of his 80th birthday party,
it was beautiful.
We can never stop thanking Joke Silva. That's the name of his wife. Not that she's not Mrs. Jacobs, but it's her state name, Joke Silva. And the Nation in the editorial celebrates their marriage. It says here, his marriage to a fellow awarding actress Joke Silva proves that his professional excellence and success goes beyond the stage. They have been married for 36 years. Their relationship is widely admired beyond the industry. Their love story seems to be a work of art on its own. But more than anything, it shows how cosmopolitan Olu Jacobs is. They make a valid point here. In a very patriarchal society like Nigeria, where husbands with low self-esteem prevent their spouses from pursuing a career, the partnership they have had in the industry has been an admirable and it has been inspiring. They've been quite supportive of each other. And it says that the stability of their marriage in an industry that daily witnesses the breakdown of marriages between actors or even across the professions due mainly to petty jealousy from the men who feel their spouses must be less famous than them is very admirable. We will look at this issue one of these days on our Adewuni, whatever. We'll just talk about it. Men out there, give your wives all the support that you can to make sure that, because you don't even know, at the very least, tables might turn.
Absolutely.
So that's at the very least. And then marriage is not slavery.
It's teamwork.
Yes, it's teamwork, and it's not slavery. And you should look at your spouse with pride. Absolutely. To say that, oh, I'm proud of this.
That's my wife.
That's
my
my
husband.
wife. Yes, you should be able to say that's my wife, and that's it, with a lot of pride and dignity. Yeah. So happy birthday, Uncle Olu. We wish you all the best. We look forward to your 90th.
Yes.
Yes, we look forward to his 90th.
Talking about table switching, I talked about this on table. I do conversations like this on Table Talk. Someone shared his story just on Monday. He was the one financing the home. Things turned around. His wife started picking up the bill and sent him to school. Now he's back on his feet and they're working together. And I was really happy to hear someone share that story. It shouldn't be a competition and strife.
No, it shouldn't be. I don't know why some men, but women to have some egos.
They do.
And some women's mouths can be very caustic. Look at you. Look at what your mates are doing. Yeah. Sometimes you can finish a man with this thing that God has given you.
Everyone's
I thought in marriages it was for kissing, but sometimes it can be used as
to
a
destroy,
weapon. Destroy the man.
And that's because of the societal standards of the man is supposed to always be the one providing the most. Well, so some women also owe you by the jugular and say, see what your mates are doing.
Yeah, see what your mates are doing. And it's getting tougher. Some women don't even talk at all. Once you are sitting at the table, you are eating, the woman goes...
Maybe she has not said anything. What should they say? That was even worse.
And there are some men, that your wife...
That food will not enter your mouth.
You know that your wife is a teacher. She's probably on about 40K a month. Okay?
Yeah.
But every day you see your bokon in your plate and... panla and everything and pokoto.
And you the chopper.
And you go the chopper, but the man too will be doing but he won't
be able to
silent for you say, well, let me just eat.
Let's eat today's own. That's very funny though. Let's say this one. It's possible now that professors in Nigeria might begin to earn 2 million naira per month. There's a story here in The Nation. Federal Government Committee recommends 2 million naira monthly pay for professors, but ASU is alleging blackmail.
Well, most of you heard Mrs. Salu yesterday. I had a guest, an 8 guest yesterday, and we were talking about this very subject, remuneration, to attract the very best to crucial professions. After medicine, I think education is the most important, to be honest with you. And so I'd like us to have a better rounded approach to the issue of education in terms of attracting the best. As it is now, if you see a group of kids, your kid is there, and you say that, what would you like to be when you grow up? Well, my own grandson said one day that he'd like to be a fireman, and I just flipped, He's a kid of 3. But you are most likely to react negatively if your child tells you that I want to be a teacher. That is how far down we have gone, and it shouldn't be that way. So I was glad to see this. Federal government recommends 2 million naira monthly pay, but I think it should be more, not more than that in figure. I think we should make it attractive with more things, housing. Look, when I was in university, I remember how we looked up to our professors. They had a car loan every 4 years. They could go on courses. When they go on courses, they come back. They lived in nice houses in Unilag, in what we call staff quarters. Then, okay, all that now has been thrown to the wind. The professors sometimes look impoverished. So we need to do a complete overhaul of our educational system. The irony is this: by the time you are propping up other professions for political reasons or whatever, by the time you are paying House of Assembly this, paying judges that, it is the teacher that produces this pool.
Yeah.
So what you are going to have eventually, after a while, even the quality of the judges and the House of Assembly, whatever that you are paying humongous money, the quality will drop because you haven't taken care of the system that produces them. So I'm going to plead again. I'm going to plead one more time. Let us have some kind of educational forum and find how we can professionalize teaching, and make it attractive.
And not just a last resort for people who can get jobs.
Some of your bankers that you have today, deep inside them would have been teachers.
Yes.
You get it. Some of your bankers, some working in the oil industry, you can't match them. We agree, but at least you can meet the minimum. rather than what we do, have a raffle draw and give 3 teachers some Chinese car somewhere and say this is to encourage them. I don't subscribe to that. I think we've treated them with contempt. We need to apologize to our teachers, but very quickly we need to overhaul the educational system.
Not just university, even from the primary level. That might even be the most important.
Yes, because look at the quality of what we're producing today.
Yeah.
When the university admission is going on, you set high marks for mass comm, you set high marks for law, and so on and so forth. Then when the child looks as if nothing's going to be education,
education is a last resort.
So even a brilliant child doesn't feel like he feels,
it's been downgraded.
It's downgraded to go study education. And I think it's time we change that.
I totally agree on that one. Let's see if we take a minute to quickly talk about this one. It's an editorial in The Punch. State police should no longer be delayed. This is an editorial here. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the arguments for and against state police are quite well known. But the one I found exciting in this this editorial talks about countries that have state police and so on. The argument is quite clear. And they say this: to prevent abuse noticed in the police force and the defunct regional local police, oversight should be provided by constitutionally established bodies that will not be answerable to state governors. And this is the first time I'm seeing this, and it caught my attention, that oversight of local police, should have a body that oversees them, and they shouldn't be reporting to the governor. And so it now talks about training and certification and how states can collaborate and so on and so forth. The Punch calls on the state governors to act now, and they're very worried about this new advocacy about self-defense that is gaining ground.
Can we handle it if we started? But we have to go now. Thank you all for joining. The engagement on social media is pretty interesting. Thank you all for being here. That's a wrap for Dailies today for the week.
Yes.
Yeah, returns with Sheriff on Monday. Jimi is back at 9 o'clock Daily Digest. Make sure to join. And after the news on the hour, we're going to look at hot takes, the biggest stories from the week. And then 8:30 Budget half hour. Budget will be here joining us on the show. Thank you for being here.
God bless you.
We'll see you again soon.
Yeah.
Round the clock, but bring the news,
sports,
events,
talk, and even more talk.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. Did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not a